If you've ever stood in your garden at sunrise, hose in hand, wondering why watering still feels like a daily chore in the 21st century, this article is for you. Here at Roots Haven Grounds, we're all about smarter gardening, systems that work with nature, not against it. And today, I want to take you back to one of the most quietly powerful gardening ideas ever created, a garden that waters itself for decades, without pumps, timers, electricity, or stress. It's old, it's simple, and somehow, we forgot it. Yet once you understand it, you'll wonder why you ever dragged a hose across your beds again. Long before plastic irrigation lines and smart controllers, ancient farmers faced the same challenge we do today: how to grow food reliably with limited water. Their solution wasn't complicated, it was elegant. They buried water where plants actually need it. This system, often called subsurface clay pot irrigation, commonly known as irrigation, uses unglazed clay containers buried in the soil. You fill them with water, seal the top, and walk away. Over days, weeks, and even years, water slowly seeps through the porous clay directly into the root zone. Plants draw moisture only when they need it. No evaporation, no runoff, no wasted effort, and when properly installed, these systems can last 20 years or more. Modern gardening often focuses on delivering more water pressure, more technology, more control, but plants don't need more, they need consistency. So, when you water from above, the soil surface gets wet, and, honestly, it dries pretty quickly. Roots, well, they learn to stay shallow. Weeds just love this, and they thrive. Plus, diseases can spread through splashing soil. But, with buried irrigation, the opposite happens. Moisture stays deep and steady, encouraging roots to grow downward, making plants stronger, more drought-tolerant, and, less dependent on you. What makes this system powerful isn't just water savings, it's how it changes plant behavior. Unglazed clay is naturally porous. When the soil around it is dry, water slowly seeps outward, but when the soil is already moist, seepage slows, or even stops. This creates a self-regulating cycle, driven by soil moisture tension rather than human timing. Plants don't get flooded, they don't get stressed, they get exactly what they ask for. This is why gardens using this method often use 50 to 70% less water while producing healthier crops. And unlike drip systems, nothing clogs, cracks in the sun, or requires pressure. Gravity and physics do all the work. So if this system is so effective, why did it disappear? The answer isn't because it failed, it's because it doesn't sell well in a modern marketplace. You buy it once, install it, and it quietly works for decades. There are no replacement parts, subscriptions, or upgrades. As plastic irrigation became cheap and mass-produced, ancient methods were labeled primitive, even though they often outperform modern solutions in resilience and efficiency. In short, we didn't abandon it because it was worse. We forgot it because it was too good. Building your own lazy, self-watering garden, here's where this becomes practical for your garden at Roots Haven Grounds. Alright, so to create this system you need unglazed clay pots, or those purpose-made ollas. Glazed pots just won't work for this. The clay really needs to breathe for the system to function properly. You'll want to bury the pot so that only the opening is exposed above the soil level. Then, just fill it up with water and cover the opening with a flat stone, a lid, or even a tile. This helps prevent evaporation and keeps mosquitoes out. Now, the spacing of each pot depends on your soil type and what you're growing. In heavy clay soil, one pot can serve a wider area, but in sandy soil, you'll want to place them closer together. Once the pot is buried, you plant around the pot, not directly on top of it. The roots will naturally grow toward the moisture source, which is exactly what you want. After that, your job is simple. Just refill every few days, or even once a week, depending on the weather and soil. That's it. So, Why is this perfect for busy or dry climate gardeners? If you live in a hot climate, struggle with water access, or simply don't want gardening to feel like a second job, this system is honestly transformative. It's especially powerful for raised beds, kitchen gardens, tomatoes, peppers, herbs, and fruiting plants. Even young trees benefit when larger clay vessels are used during establishment, and because the soil surface stays relatively dry, weeds are dramatically reduced. Less watering also means fewer fungal diseases. So, this isn't lazy gardening in a careless way, it's lazy in the smartest way possible. Long-term durability. That's why it can last 20 years. Plastic degrades, rubber cracks, timers fail, but clay doesn't. When they're buried in soil, protected from sunlight and impact, unglazed clay pots can last for decades. Archaeologists actually still find intact irrigation vessels that are thousands of years old. And, even if one eventually cracks, replacement is simple and cheap. This is a system you install once and benefit from season after season, without constant maintenance. That's what makes it truly evergreen. Common mistakes to avoid. Many gardeners fail with this method because they rush it or modify it incorrectly, using glazed pots, leaving openings uncovered, or planting too far away from the water source really reduces effectiveness. Another mistake is overfilling too frequently. Trust the system. Let the soil dry slightly between refills so roots actively seek the moisture. This method rewards patience and observation, skills every great gardener develops over time. At Roots Haven Grounds, we believe the future of gardening looks a lot like the past: local, resilient, low input, and deeply connected to soil health. This self-watering system isn't just a trick, it's a philosophy, one that says you don't need constant intervention to grow abundance. You need well-designed systems that respect natural processes. When you build a garden that waters itself, you're not being lazy, you're being wise. If you've been overwhelmed by watering schedules, struggling with dry soil, or just craving a calmer way to garden, this forgotten method might be the solution you didn't know you were missing. It saves water, it saves time, it grows stronger plants, and once installed, it quietly works for decades. That's the kind of gardening we stand for here. If you found this useful, make sure to subscribe to Roots Haven Grounds, share this article with a fellow gardener, and help bring these forgotten powerful methods back where they belong, into living soil and thriving gardens.